When I got fired, my parents laughed and said, "You've always been all talk, no results." A week later, they threw a backyard party to celebrate my sister's unpaid internship. When I asked if I could come, my dad said, "Why? So you can sulk in the corner and remind everyone what failure looks like." My mom added, "She earned this. You've earned nothing but pity and shame." I just smiled and said, "You'll regret this celebration one day." 6 months later, I made a move that left them crying on the porch. They once kicked me off. They're calling every night, "Please, we need you more than ever." So IDK if anyone else's family does this thing where they act like you're invisible when you're not doing what they want, but yeah, that's my house lately. Literally started this week with my mom standing in the kitchen, looking dead, at me eating reheated lasagna. Then she goes, "Losers eat leftovers." Not even joking, didn't even blink. I laugh, because honestly, what else am I doing? But she just walks out and leaves me standing there with my cold food and my phone. My name's Barrett BTW. I'm 27, live at home because rent is hell, and yeah, got fired a couple weeks ago. Not gonna get into all that, not like I was out here changing the world, but I wasn't an idiot. I always paid my way. But my dad, Lorenzo, and mom, Ruth, are the kind of people who think if you're not showing off, you're not worth much. Like dad's always talking about real results, mom's all about what the neighbors think. My little sis June just got this unpaid internship, PR or marketing or whatever. She changes the story every time. And suddenly she's the golden child. I'm not even mad at her. She's always been the easy one. She does what they want, keeps her head down, doesn't make waves. I don't. I never have. Anyway, so I'm in the kitchen, minding my business, and my dad walks in, looks at me, and goes, "Unemployment office call again?" Like that's even a thing. I don't even answer, I just take my food and bounce to my room. Next day, I come down and there's all this stuff in the backyard, folding tables, bags of chips, soda, all that. I ask what's up. Mom barely looks at me and goes, "We're throwing June a party for her internship." I'm like, "Oh, cool. When is it?" She says, "End of the week." So I go, "Do you want me to help set up or something?" Dad's there now, leans on the counter and says, "Why? So you can sulk in the corner and remind everyone what failure looks like?" I laugh thinking he's joking, but he's not even smiling. Mom cuts in, says June earned this. "You've earned nothing but pity and shame." I can't even lie, that hurt. I say, it's not like I wanted to lose my job." Dad just shrugs, says I've always been all talk, no results, and maybe it's time I learned what real life is. It's not a new thing for him, TBH. He's always been on my ass about doing something real or making something of myself. I always had this feeling he just doesn't think I'm wired right or whatever, like I'm not enough. Mom piles on, says maybe if I'd listened to them instead of wasting time online, I'd be celebrating too. I snap a little. I'm like, "You think I'm not trying? You think I sit around wanting to be here?" She just waves me off, goes back to wiping the counter. June walks in. She's got this nervous look like she wants to say something but she won't. She never really stands up for me, not against them. I get it, honestly. So I go up to my room again, scroll on TikTok, just try not to think about it. It's honestly wild, like I know I'm not perfect, but they're acting like I killed someone. I hear them downstairs talking about the food list. Who's coming, all that. It's all family, basically. I text my cousin Rachel, ask if she's going. She says yeah, and asks if I'll be there. I tell her I DK, honestly. Friday comes. I wake up to my mom banging on my door. She says if I'm not going to help, at least stay out of the way. I try to go down and get coffee. She's literally standing in front of the machine, blocking me, talking on the phone about how proud she is of June. I go to grab chips off the counter. Dad slaps my hand away. Not hard, but enough to piss me off. Says those are for the party, not for me. I just look at him. He says if I want to eat, I can go get my own stuff. I say, fine, I'll go get a burrito, whatever. He smirks. Says if I have money for that, maybe I should start paying rent. I tell him I don't even have a job. He says, maybe I should get one. So I grab my jacket and leave. I wander around for a bit, sit at the park, scroll job boards. Nothing new. I'm honestly kind of numb at this point, like, what do they want from me? I head back home after a couple hours, try to sneak in while the party's starting. There's like 20 people in the backyard, music blasting. Everyone laughing, June in the middle, getting hugged by aunts and uncles. I try to just go to my room, but Dad catches me at the bottom of the stairs. He says, "You're not coming out there, are you?" I say. I wasn't planning on it. He says, "Good, don't ruin it for everyone." I just nod, whatever. Later I hear them all doing karaoke, singing happy birthday. Even though it's not her birthday, whatever. Mom's got her phone out, taking non-stop pics. I can hear June's friends talking about how nice her family is, how supportive. I just sit there, watching YouTube, trying to tune it out. At one point, someone bangs on my door. I think it's June, but when I open it, it's my dad. He's got a drink in his hand, says, "You could have been out there, if you'd just gotten your act together." I laugh, say, "You really think I want to celebrate an unpaid internship?" He gets mad, steps up close, says, "I need to get my life together or get out." I tell him, "You'll regret this celebration one day." He laughs, says, "Sure I will," leaves, slams my door. I sit there, listening to them cheering outside, and I just think, all right, fine. That's how it's gonna be. I start making a plan. Not even a revenge thing at first, just like, I'm not letting them do this to me and walk away smiling. TBH, I don't even know what winning looks like yet, but I'm not just gonna take it. Not anymore. They wanted a show? I'll give them one. That's when it started. Next update soon. IDK if anyone cares, but it gets way uglier. Update 1. So I wake up the morning after the backyard party, and the first thing I hear is my mom in the hallway on the phone, talking to someone about how proud she is, how June's really going places, not like some people. She says it loud enough I can hear through my door. I just stare at my phone, not even scrolling. It's like 8 a.m. I go out to grab water and my dad's by the sink flipping through his phone, doesn't even look at me. Just says, "If you're not gonna work, you can at least not eat all the food." I look at him, thinking he's half joking, but he means it. Mom comes down, ignores me, starts clearing up the party stuff, kinda humming. June comes in from the yard. She's wearing this new jacket, probably a gift from Mom TBH, and she gives me this look like she's sorry, but not enough to do anything. She goes upstairs without saying anything. Rest of the day's just awkward. Mom makes eggs for everyone but me. Says if I want to eat, I can make my own. There's noodles in the pantry. I boil some ramen, whatever, sit at the end of the table scrolling Reddit, and they just talk over me about June's big future. I try to cut in, say I have an interview next week. Dad just shakes his head and says, "Sure, we'll see." Not holding my breath. I laugh. He says, "You act like you're owed something." I just say, "Nah, just trying to get by." Later I try to get on the Wi-Fi and it's not working. I go down to check the router and there's a sticky note says, "Family only, get your own." I just stare at it. I ask Mom, "Is the Wi-Fi down?" She says, "No, we just changed the password." I ask why. She says, "You want to live like an adult, you can pay for your own stuff." She's not yelling, just cold. I go back up, hotspot my phone. Whatever. It's petty, but it stings. I messy, my friend Sawyer, say my parents are losing it. He says, "Dude, just move out." Easy for him to say. He's got a whole basement to himself. I start looking up rooms for rent, but everything's expensive AF. I check my bank, not enough to last more than a couple months if I bail. I tell myself I'll make it work, just need time. That week, they start locking up groceries in a bin in the garage. You'd think I was stealing. I catch Mom with a padlock and she says, "Just being practical, food isn't free." I say, "I'm not a thief." She shrugs, says, "You want to eat? Go buy your own." I get mad, say, "You're acting crazy." She says, "We're not running a shelter, Barrett." I slam the fridge. She keeps washing dishes. Dad gets home that night. I hear them talking loud in the kitchen, not yelling, just tense. He comes up and knocks, says, "We need to talk." I open the door. He steps in, closes it behind him, sits on my bed. He says, "I know you're struggling, but you gotta start pulling your weight." I say, "I'm trying. I got an interview." He says, "We can't keep carrying you. You're not a kid." I say, "I'm not asking for handouts. I just need space to get back on my feet." He says, "You've been saying that for years." I say, "It's been weeks, not years." He just shakes his head, stands up, says, "I don't want to be the bad guy, but you can't just coast." I say, "Maybe stop treating me like trash for a minute and you'd see I'm trying." He gets mad, says, "Watch your mouth." I say, "Or what?" He pushes me. Not hard, but enough to make his point. I shove him back. He says, "Real mature." I say, "Don't touch me." He leaves, slams the door. I sit on my bed, just staring at the wall. Next day, Mom sends me a Venmo request for rent. Not even a nice message, just rent. I text her, "What's this?" She says, "If you're gonna live here, you pay." I say, "Where's this coming from?" She says, "We're not your backup plan." I laugh, say, "You made it clear I'm not part of the plan at all." She leaves me on read. For a while, I just stay in my room, only go out when no one's around. June tries to talk to me once, says, "They're just stressed, it's not about you." I say, "You didn't say anything when they trashed me in front of everyone." She says, "I didn't want to make it worse." I say, "Must be nice to have backup." She just sighs. I start doing little gigs online, nothing major, just enough to keep my phone paid and get some grocery. Mom sees me bringing in food one night, says, "You got money for takeout but not rent." I say, "I'm working, just not the way you want." She says, "It doesn't count if you're just playing on your phone." I say, "It's not your business." She says, "You live in my house, it is my business." I say, "Fine, maybe I won't for long." She says, "That's up to you." I take my food to my room, lock the door. Dad gets on a call with my uncle, speaker on, doesn't care that I can hear. He's telling him Barrett just doesn't get it. He thinks life will just come to him. Uncle says maybe he needs a wake-up call. Dad says maybe kicking him out will do it. I'm sitting right there, I grab my shoes, leave for a walk. No one notices. For a while, it's just silent treatment. Mom doesn't talk to me unless she has to. Dad just glares. June's barely home. When she is, she just hides in her room. I miss when we were close, but it's obvious she'd rather not get dragged in. I get it, but it sucks. I apply to 100 jobs. Nothing sticks. I start selling old stuff online, sneakers, old headphones, whatever. Dad sees me packing something up in the garage, says, "You're finally getting rid of your junk?" I say, "Yeah." Making space. He says, "Maybe you should clear out for real." I say, "Maybe I will." He laughs like he doesn't believe me. One night, I hear them arguing downstairs. It's about money. Mom says, "We can't keep covering for him. It's not fair to June." Dad says, "He'll figure it out or he won't. Not our problem." They see me at the top of the stairs, stop talking. I go back up. The next morning, someone's taken the charger from my room. I ask June if she's seen it. She says, "Ask Mom." I find Mom in the kitchen. She says, "Maybe if you paid for your own things, you'd take better care of them." I say, "I do." She says, "Not enough." I just take the charger and walk out. She mutters something, but I don't care. I get a text from Mom the next day. "If you can't pay rent by next week, you need to leave." I text back, "I'll figure it out." She says, "You always say that." I don't answer. So now I'm just hustling, eating ramen, avoiding everyone, barely sleeping. I start thinking, they really don't want me here. Fine. They want to see what I can do. They're about to find out. I start making a list of all the things I helped them with. Stuff around the house, tech stuff, fixing accounts, all that. I realize how much they rely on me for the stuff they don't even notice. I'm done playing nice. I get to work. Update 2. So after that whole rent demand and them locking up the groceries and Wi-Fi and whatever, I just stopped pretending. Like if they want to freeze me out, I'll do it back. I started staying out late, coming in at weird times just so I wouldn't have to deal with them. Sometimes I'd sleep in my car or crash on Sawyer's couch. I'd take showers at weird hours so I wouldn't run into any. I'd hear my mom talking about me on the phone with her friends, saying stuff like, "He's still here, it's embarrassing. We don't know what to do with him." I kept a list in my notes app, stuff I fixed for them over the years. It was longer than I realized. TV setup, Wi-Fi, banking apps, online forms, all the little things they never figured out on their own. If they want me out, they can learn the hard way. So I start making my own plans. First, I need out. Like out for real. I got a few gigs going. Nothing crazy, but I was stacking cash and selling random stuff. Old consoles, sneakers, anything I could. I found a room posted by this dude on Facebook Marketplace. Not fancy, but cheap enough. Went to see it. It was sketchy, but whatever. Better than home. Signed for 1 month, paid in cash. I didn't tell anyone. I just started moving small stuff out on random nights. Clothes in my backpack, my old laptop, chargers, all that. After a week, most of my things were gone and no one even noticed. On my last night, I waited until everyone was asleep, grabbed the last of my stuff, left my house key on the kitchen counter. I didn't write a note for them, just texted June so she wouldn't freak out. Told her I was fine and not to tell them where I was if they asked. She just sent back a thumbs up and that was it. First week in the new place, I kept waiting for some huge fallout, but it was dead quiet. No one texted, no calls, nothing from my parents. I figured they were happy I was gone. Fine by me. But here's the thing. My dad's been running this little side hustle for years, selling stuff online, fixing people's electronics, whatever. He never learned how to do any of the back-end stuff himself, not really. I'd always helped him with listings, automating inventory, cleaning up the tech, all that. He'd brag to everyone how smooth his setup was, but it was basically me doing everything and him taking the credit. Now I was gone, so I just stopped doing it. About a month in, I get this weird voicemail from him. "Hey, can you call me? I just have a quick question about my laptop. Can't get into one of the accounts." I ignore it. Next week, another call. "Hey, having some issues with the printer. Need to get these shipping labels out. Can you help?" I don't answer. Then a text, not even friendly, just, "I need you to fix this. It's urgent. Lol." So I start seeing stuff posted in his group chats. People complaining about slow shipping, mislisted items, asking if he's quitting. I know exactly why. He never took notes, never wrote down passwords, always just called me. Now he's stuck. Mom starts texting too, trying to guilt trip me. If you cared about your family, you'd help your father with this stuff. You know how much it means to him, all that. I read it, don't reply. Then I start getting more creative. I know all the routines. When they check accounts, who they email, what passwords they use or forget. I don't mess with anything illegal, but I remove my admin rights on all the stuff I controlled. Let it run its course. When my dad tries to reset the Wi-Fi or the TV, he can't. When Mom tries to send out invites for her meetups, the mailing list is gone. I deleted my profile, not hers. They start to realize how much I actually did. Meanwhile, I'm just grinding away, making my own moves. I start freelancing for other people, picking up side jobs. Nothing crazy, but I'm not starving. I help Sawyer's uncle with stuff for cash, pick up odd stuff on Craigslist, whatever. I keep my head down, phone silent except for a couple friends. June texts me sometimes, just memes or mom's losing her mind type stuff. But she never asked me to come back. I can tell she's stressed though. She's stuck in that house with her internship is still unpaid. She's burning through her savings. About 2 months after I left, I see my dad at the gas station. He looks rough, like he's not sleeping. He walks up, says, "You really gonna ignore your family after all we did for you?" I say, "What exactly did you do for me?" He says, "We gave you a place to stay, food, everything." I say, "And made sure I knew I was a failure every day." He says, "That's not fair. We just wanted better for you." I say, "You wanted someone to blame when things sucked." He tries to get in my face, but I keep calm. He pushes my arm. I push back. He mutters something about ungrateful kids and walks off. I watch him go, not even mad, just done. After that, the texts get desperate. Mom says they're behind on bills. Dad's business is falling apart. She's ashamed to ask, but needs my help. I don't answer. I see her calling family, asking for advice, but no one wants to get involved. Uncle texts me, says, "Maybe you could help your dad out, just for a bit." I say, "He made his choice." Uncle says, "Family is family." I say, "Not when they treat you like." I start hearing from friends of the family, random aunties, neighbors, messaging me on Facebook saying, "Your parents are struggling. Can you at least talk to them?" I say, "They know how to reach me. They just don't want to say sorry." They say, "You shouldn't hold a grudge." I say, "It's not a grudge, it's a boundary." Then June calls, first time in months. She sounds tired, says, "Dad's business is dead. Mom's not sleeping. I don't know what to do." I say, "Maybe they should have thought of that before." She says, "You're not wrong, but it sucks being." I tell her, "You can stay with me anytime." She says, "I might," but she doesn't. Next day, she sends a text, says, "I'm sorry." I leave her on read, not ready for that yet. Now I'm just working, stacking cash, keeping receipts. I got a plan, but I'm not rushing it. They wanted to see what happens when they push me out. They're about to get the full experience. And honestly, I'm just getting started. Final update. So here's the thing. It all gets kind of weird after month 4. Like, I'm finally not thinking about them every second. I got my own spot. Shared house, but privacy once. I'm stacking up small wins. Nothing flashy, just like breathing room. But I start hearing stuff. Sawyer's mom runs into my mom at the store. They're not friends, but she tells Sawyer my mom looked rough, said something about everything falling apart and June being the only reliable one left. In GL, that makes me laugh because June's still stuck with them, grinding away for nothing, and now she's sending me texts like, "Do you know how to fix the TV?" And "Dad's losing it over the router. Please help." I leave her on scene. Then one night I get a call from my dad. Not a text, a call, which is already a red flag because the last time he called it was to tell me to man up. Now he sounds tired. His voice is flat. He says, "We need to talk. Can you stop by the house?" I say I'm busy. He says, "Please." That's it. Just please. Days go by, more missed calls. My mom texts, just says, "We really need you, Barrett. Come home." I ignore. So I'm out walking back from the store one day and I see my parents out on their porch. They're sitting together. Not talking, just staring at nothing. I know that look. It's the same one Dad used to give me after a bad day, but now it's pointed at their own house. I keep walking. They don't even see me. Next day, I get a DM from my uncle, says, "No joke. Can you help your dad? He's in trouble with his side thing. He's lost a bunch of money. Mom's worried about bills." I say, "They know where I am." Uncle says they're too proud. I say, "Not my problem." I start thinking about all the crap they put me through. No Wi-Fi, no food, the party, the rent demands, all of it. I decide I'm done letting them control the store. I check out the house listings just for fun. Turns out, the house next door to theirs is up for rent. Not even that expensive with roommates. I hit up an old classmate, Rachel. She's chill, needed a place. And we split the rent. We sign the next week. 2 days later, I move. First thing I do is throw a BBQ. I invite everyone. Friends, Sawyer and his girl, neighbors, even the mail guy. He's cool, always says what up. I make it loud, music going, food everywhere, people laughing. My dad comes out on the porch, sees me, just stands there. My mom follows, arms crossed, tries to wave me over, but I just go back to flipping burgers. June texts me, says, "Are you really doing this right now?" I say, "You're welcome to come over." She says, "I can't." I say, "Your choice." Later that night, I see my parents sitting on their porch crying. Real tears. Mom's got her head in her hands. Dad's just staring at the ground. I don't go over. I don't say a word. Next morning, my phone starts blowing up. First, it's my dad. "Please, Barrett, we need you. Can you help us fix the accounts, the business, the bills, all of it?" Then my mom. "I'm sorry for how we treated you. We didn't mean it. You're our son. We need you." Then uncle again. Then even random numbers. I guess my dad's desperate enough to have people I barely know try to guilt trip me. I just let it all ring. I post a pic of the barbecue to my stories. Nothing special, just a normal day. Couple people comment, nice place, looks fun. My mom leaves a comment, can you call me? I delete it. June comes by the next day. She doesn't knock, just stands on the sidewalk. I go out, she says, they're falling apart, Barrett. I say, what do you want from me? She says, I don't know, just, this sucks. I say, you never stood up for me. She says, I know. I say, I'm not the bad guy here. She says, I know. I'm sorry. I say, okay. She leaves. After that, the calls keep coming. Every night, sometimes both of them, sometimes just one. Voicemails like, please, we need you more than ever. We're sorry, just come back, help us. I don't answer. I don't owe them. My friends say I should just block them, but I kind of like letting them sweat. Let them see what happens when you treat people like trash for not being perfect. Let them sit on the porch and remember every time they told me I was a burden. It's not even about revenge anymore. Really, it's just, I finally get to breathe, knowing they can't control me, can't use me. They made their choice, now they get to live with it. That's it. No big, I forgive you, no happy ending. They call every night, same as always. I sleep fine.